The Biden impeachment probe may be coming to a town near you for the holidays. Members of Congress are home for a 3-week winter break, but the investigation into the Bidens isn't slowing down. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer announcing he is sending investigators on the road to depose and interview witnesses locally who have been subpoenaed. Just this week, they heard from a witness testifying that the president's brother, James, cashed in on the family name. An Americore Health trustee claims that Jim Biden took $600,000 from the struggling healthcare company with the promise of using the Biden name to bring in funding from the Middle East, a service he never provided. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan says some of that money James got from Americore can now be traced directly to Joe Biden.
With Americore, Jim Biden gets paid $600,000, and that very same day he sends $200,000 to his brother. It was always about giving access to the brand. So we think we'll talk to Jim Biden in January. We think we'll talk to Rob Walker, Eric Schwerin, Tony Bobolinsky, Kevin Morris, the guy who paid Hunter Biden's taxes or a large portion of his tax bill. So we do think we're going to have those individuals in for a deposition at the start of the new year.
But before all of that, joining us right now is House Oversight Committee Chairman, Congressman James Comer. Mr. Chairman, thanks very much for being here.
My pleasure.
You said you sent teams out to do investigations to get depositions taken in the local towns because what? They said, your witnesses said they couldn't make it to Washington?
Yeah, they said, well, it's Christmas time. You know, we got a lot going on. We can't afford it. They were just not going to be able to make it there. It may be a couple of months. I said, okay, well, we'll make it convenient for you. I will send my deposers to you. We will go to you wherever you are. And this one, we went to Florida. We'll continue to travel wherever it takes. If it's in a foreign country, wherever. We're going to get these depositions done in the next 60 days, come heck or high water.
You've got a lot going on, and I want to get your take on this Americore Health story, because we've been talking and trying to trace money that was coming from overseas to the Biden family. This is an American company, and they, too, paid the Biden family, according to what you're saying.
Yeah, Jim Biden operated a little differently than Hunter Biden, but they worked together, and it was all about selling the brand, and the brand was Joe Biden. Jim Biden focused more domestically, but he always used international as his gimmick. And what he did, he found this company, Americore Health, which is a healthcare company based out of Florida. He found out that they were in financial trouble, so he approached them and made a presentation, and obviously they knew who he was. He was Joe Biden. He said that because of his brother's contacts in the Middle East, he can get them all the capital they need to get back on their feet. But you're going to have to pay Jim Biden $600,000 first, and we're going to call it a loan so we don't have to report it to the IRS. And what's interesting about that is the last payment they paid, Americore Health paid Jim Biden 3 payments of $200,000. The last $200,000 payment, the day Jim Biden received it, he wrote Joe Biden a check for $200,000. So that's direct evidence that Joe Biden benefited from his family's shady influence peddling schemes. And what we learned from the interview with the trustee of Americore, Maria, was that this was securities fraud 101 by Jim Biden.
Wow, this is incredible. Have you heard back from Jim Biden on an explanation over this? I know you want to speak with him in January.
No, we're going to have Jim Biden in January. He's going to have an opportunity to explain himself. We obviously have a lot of questions about this Americore Health scheme, but there are many, many more schemes. I mean, when you look at Jim Biden's LLC and the payments that were received, it raises a lot of questions. We talk about Hunter Biden and his shell companies and all the wires from the foreign nationals. You look at Jim Biden's LLC, and he got a lot of wires from some shady American people, people that we believe were seeking favor from the Biden vice presidency or the Biden presidency.
That's unbelievable. You've gotten so much witness testimony on all of this, and yet the Democrats and the media continue to say that there's no evidence against Joe Biden.
Yeah, they think if they keep saying it, Maria, people are going to believe it. Every story I've read this morning shows some type of reference to no evidence, but they still have proven no evidence. They found no evidence of wrongdoing by Joe Biden, which is completely ridiculous. Every American that's keeping up with this investigation knows that we've provided mountains of evidence of wrongdoing about Joe Biden. At the very least, Joe Biden's lied over 21 times about who he met with and what he knew and who he communicated with. More evidence is coming forward that Joe Biden was emailing these shady characters in Hunter Biden's orbit that he claimed he never met at the beginning of our investigation. Now we know he was sending and receiving hundreds of emails, but he was using a pseudonym email. He was using a fake name to disguise his communication with these people. Joe Biden knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly how his family was receiving tens of millions of dollars from our enemies around the world, and we're going to continue to provide more evidence.
You've got all of these questions surrounding President Biden and allegations of influence peddling, money laundering, bribery, his failure even to keep the border secure, so ineptitude on policy, putting our country in harm's way, and yet it's former President Trump who Democrats are trying to remove from the ballot. He's off the primary ballot in Colorado. Now California is pushing to take him off their California state ballot. It's creating, an incredible situation where other Democrat states want to remove Trump from the ballot. He hasn't been convicted of anything, and yet they're taking him off the ballot. Your reaction?
Well, look, I think the American people see that we have layers and layers of corruption in this government. This is purely political, what they're trying to do. You cannot remove from the ballot the former president of the United States, who is leading by 5 or 6 points in every poll in America right now, from the ballot. I mean, the things that they're using in these cases revolve around insurrection, which is a Civil War era type thing. And I mean, they've provided no evidence that Donald Trump led an insurrection. I've always said January 6th was a rally that went bad. I mean, there's time after time, evidence after evidence that Trump was trying to tell people to calm down and go home. We have reports that there were people instigating. I don't know what happened there. That's not part of my investigation. But one thing I know, what the Democrats are trying to do to Donald Trump on the ballot will backfire. I think the more they do to Donald Trump, Maria, the more he's going to increase in the polling. The American people see that Joe Biden is a shady character who has bad policies that have had a negative impact on their lives. And at the same time, they're trying to do everything in their ability to limit his top political opponent from being on the ballot. I don't think the American people are going to stand for it. And I bet Donald Trump carries Colorado now in the election.
Wow. That's a great point. What a prediction. But, I mean, if ever there was a time that America is declining, it feels like it is now. And people are laughing because of this attack to our democracy. If ever we felt like a banana republic, it is today. Now we've got this exclusive from Breitbart, who says Republicans are drafting bills to remove Joe Biden from ballots in Georgia, Arizona, Pennsylvania. They're talking about a dereliction of duty because the border is wide open and 8 to 10 million illegals have come in, and they get court dates 9 years from now. So they're going to be in America waiting for their court date if they ever show up again. So what are we going to do? Just start removing people from ballots, even when there's no evidence and no conviction? Now the Republicans want Joe Biden off the ballot.
Yeah, the Democrats have set so many bad precedents in their investigations, in their court rulings, in their policies. And,
the committees.
It's not good for the future of democracy.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, sir. We will be watching.
Thank you.